All right, as you know, the voting for the ANC's top 7 position is currently underway at Nasrec for the ANC's 55th National Conference. We take you back to Nasrec and we speak to our colleague, my reporter, Natasha Piri, who is standing by. Natasha, of course, as you are interviewing various delegates as well as candidates, it's becoming very clear that the issue of who to nominate in this top 7 will determine the future of the party.
Definitely, Unaiti, and of course we'll get to that conversation later on. But I'm joined by the former ANC Women's League president and outgoing NEC member, Bathabile Dlamini. Ma'am Dlamini, thank you so much for joining us on SABC News. Let's just start first and foremost. I mean, you made headlines about a week ago when the Electoral Committee of the ANC had served you with that letter notifying you that you are disqualified from, standing for any position of the NEC. And this is despite you receiving 800 nominations. Of course, this is in relation to the perjury case earlier on this year in March.
This is a new committee. At the beginning, I got very emotional and angry. But I even thought I would go to court. I even have everything prepared for court. But I instructed my lawyers to drop the case. Because the ANC is a big organization. I'm not alone there. There are many other people. But also, when Comrade Winnie was asked to resign from one of the people we called, the first person I spoke to was Comrade Harry Gwala. And then he said, hey, when we joined government, we joined the ANC, and as long as she is a member of the ANC, and I also thought about that well, it's painful, and there are many things that are happening right now in the ANC. And then I thought I should come down and see the whole process, but also look at patriarchy in action, men defending other men and bullying and paging others, and see how far is this going to take them. Yes.
Do you think the process was fair? Because shortly after that, that letter, we spoke to the Secretary of the Electoral Committee, Chief Mazela, and according to the rules of the Electoral Committee, nobody can stand if they've served a sentence that is longer than 6 months. But it doesn't include the fine option. In your case, you've paid the 200,000 Rand fine. Do you think the Electoral Committee was unfair?
I still think the Electoral Committee is unfair. The ANC is met by many, many challenges. And when you are a leader, you need a particular way of handling issues. And I think that is lacking. I got the letter through someone. No one spoke to me about this. But also, I never thought the Electoral Committee was established to purge people. They've made amendments, their own amendments, but also there is a gap. They are a committee, and you appeal to them, and they have to respond to you. They are like a child that is writing homework and marking herself.
But did the NEC not vote and not approve of these amendments?
The NEC said those amendments, the NEC said the rules must be in line with the Constitution. And then when they responded, they said, no, that is for disciplinary processes. And so what do you do if people have answers for everything? But I really think they should have done more work, and they should not have rushed into purging people. They are still supposed to do a lot of work, because when we agreed on the committee, we wanted people that are neutral and are not involved on the issues of the National Executive Committee. And when you are disappointed by people you trust.
Anybody specific can you name?
I trust those people, all of them.
I mean, I hear what you're saying. You're saying that this is the electoral committees somewhat being used to purge certain people out of the ANC. But what do you say to Mkwase Kai Konamanje, who says, but Umam Dlamini was found guilty of a crime? Should she not pay for that crime? Because remember, the ANC is talking about renewal and getting rid of corruption within the party.
The ANC is getting rid of corruption within the party, but we are the proponents of the constitution of the country. And there are, or we've set the bar of how things should go. And if they just anyhow, they increase actually levels of mistrust amongst ourselves. And I think that we don't want that all of us. No one wants to see an ANC where there are high levels of mistrust. Yes.
So where to from now in terms of your political future? I mean, as I said earlier on, you received 800 nominations, so you would possibly come back to the NEC if branch members actually voted for you. Since you withdrew that letter from your lawyers, have you had any engagement with the electoral committee? Is this the end of Bathabile Dlamini in politics?
The ANC has a branch, so I remain a member of the branch. I'm going to be an activist in my branch. And I'm going to continue working on the issues of women. Yes.
And your role in the Women's League?
If they say I must step aside, I will.
Is this not painful for you?
It is.
Have you engaged perhaps Kgalema Motlanthe on this issue? Because, I mean, there have been some people who are disgruntled about this disqualification process. Yesterday I was talking to Tony Ngeni. He raised a similar issue that you're raising, that there's this perception that you, the likes of you and Tony Ngeni, are actually being dealt with.
Comrade Kgalema is my senior. If he sees it fit to call me, I will go and listen to him. If he sees it fit to write me a letter, I have accepted his letter.
Let's talk about the leadership, coming out of this conference. What type of leadership would you like to see?
I think I want a seasoned cadre of the ANC. I want someone who has made sacrifices before. I want someone who is going to unite us and build on the foundation that was built by leaders before us. I want someone who is going to focus on the issues of poverty, unemployment, and inequality. Someone who's going to deal with the issues of gender-based violence and improve the economic status of women, because the socio-economic conditions of women are very bad in the country. And that is why on a daily basis you see the challenges of gender-based violence growing. But also I want a leader that is going to understand that there is always going to be a tension between the leadership of the ANC and women's structures, because there is a challenge of patriarchy in South Africa, and therefore there is always going to be a contestation, and raising issues of women is not challenging the leadership or an individual. It is an issue of women that we must continuously fight.
Is that leader ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa or Zweli Mkhize?
I support Zweli Mkhize because he made a sacrifice. Medical doctor, joined Umkhonto weSizwe, and has served in various structures of the ANC from a branch. Actually, he has served from a branch to the region, province, and in the National Executive Committee. But also, he is one of the leaders that you can talk to, raise a very raise any issue with him, and even if you do not agree with him, he would allow you to raise your issues. He would not, you would not become his enemy because you've raised issues with him. I think that is a leader we need in South Africa that is going to unite us. For me, that's very important.
You were quite critical of the state of the ANC, specifically over the past 5 years. ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa, do you believe that he has collapsed the leagues? The ANC Women's League has not sat for the conference, ANC Youth League has not sat for the conference.
I think not himself only. Every leader has his choice of people. And if you lead with people that want to say yes to you, or if you want to lead people that always want to tell you what you want to hear, you are going to make a lot of mistakes. And you cannot have an organization that does not have leads. For instance, women have a skill of mobilizing, and if you don't have the Women's League, who is going to mobilize for the ANC during the coming elections? But also issues of contestation within the ANC are always going to be there, and if you are always going to push away everyone who does not agree with you, you are not going to get a new and the best and tested ideas that are going to make you a better person.
Lastly, just looking at issues of women, I know my colleagues are busy taking videos of former President Jacob Zuma. They're behind us and just getting bites. Just quickly, you were quite, in 2017, you had mentioned the issue that, the ANC is actually ready to be led by a female president. Seemingly, you have a structure that is tasked to taking the ANC Women's League to conference, the ANC Women's League National Task Team, but they have endorsed a man. Is this not an issue?
It is a big issue, but it was organized somewhere. It was part of weakening the women's agenda.
By who?
by those that decided that Women's League, we were fighting and therefore we had to be disbanded, and that we had reached our term of office and therefore we had to be disbanded, and used a different rule, brought in new people when in other structures they've been endorsing people that are there. So it is their architecture. It was a process of preparing for this conference, so that you have enough votes, but you don't look as if you are organizing votes for yourself. When you prepare for the elections of the NEC, and if you want a woman, you have to work for a long period. So they did not even have had that time. But also amongst, you saw what was the outcome of our meeting for the coming conference. We elected a man, yes.
And you're not happy, seemingly not happy about that?
I'm not happy about that, yes.
But do you also support another man, Zweli Mkhize?
Because there are two men. Already we did not have an option of a woman. So there are men, yes.
Dlamini, thank you so much for giving us this interview on TV First, and all the best. Okay. 19 our viewers, of course, that was Bathabile Dlamini, the former ANC Women's League president and outgoing NEC member, just confirming to SABC News that, listen, she has retracted her letter to the Electoral Committee. She will remain an activist in her branch, and also quite emotional there in United, if you actually saw, saying that it really, really hurts her what actually happened, you know, and she believes that she's being purged through the Electoral Committee of the ANC.